Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Wired Thought, the Wired Thoughts podcast, where I interview world-class tech professionals and also leaders to learn from their experiences and thoughts on the ever-evolving world of technology. And today, my guest is Nazran. So he's a software engineer at Xendit, a Southeast Asian fintech company that provides payment infrastructure. At the same time, he was also formerly a data engineer and a pro hackathoner. So yeah, I don't think that's a word, but as we speak, he has just completed one last weekend. Then I think which I'm sure he has a lot to share in a bit. So welcome Nazran. I think thank you so much for being here. And then at the same time, I saw on how we met, right? For the listeners to understand on how we met. I actually got connected to Nasran through one of his sharings on his website building journey. So I think I told you this before, Nasran, and then I think I saw that and I was really inspired. So I inspired me to also set up my website, but it's non-existent now. But I tried that myself, and then it was all thanks to your post. And then that's why I think you couldn't be more fitting to help me officiate Wired Thoughts, this podcast. So I think that's some context on how we met. Then at the same time, today we are actually here to be chatting about a very hot topic, I would say, in the tech industry. On whether AI will actually take over or displace a programmer slash developer's job. So that's what we'll be talking about. And before we go into that, maybe Nasran, I would like the listeners to also understand you a little better. So maybe can you share a bit about what's your current role? I mean, what is it about? At the same time, maybe a bit about your transition from a data engineer to software engineer, and how long have you been in tech? Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Thank you for inviting me as your first guest for your podcast. Yeah, I actually like can't remember how long since I built that personal website, and I still remember the first message you sent me about the website. Yeah, time flies. I think that was like 3 years ago, most almost. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think so. Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, talking about my role. So yeah, like mentioned, like I am now a software engineer in Xendit. Specifically, like I'm tied to this one team called Experiments. So how Xendit works is that we have like a team called Experiments where we run experiments. We run like new product, new ideas. It's a fast-paced kind of like team because the general expectation is that you have to grow 30% month on month on whatever you're trying to build. And it's honestly it fits my personality. As mentioned before, pro hackathon. So I like doing things from zero to one over and over and over again. And I think in experiments it allows me to do that, right? And yeah, I before that I was a data. I wouldn't say it's a data engineer. I would say just like a general data guy, data person. In Bank Negara Malaysia, the Central Bank of Malaysia. Because yeah, anything to do with data is something that I would be doing. How long I have been in tech? Um, should be 6 years already, career-wise. But I have been interested in like tech and startups all the way since like uni days, like 2014, 2015. And it's kind of wild because like even back in uni days, some of like the technologies that we've been talking about nowadays. So for example, like AI, right? Is something that I have been listening and closely following even back in uni. I remember like my faculty of computer science, we were actually watching OpenAI AlphaGo live.
Oh,
Actually,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
we were
Okay.
discussing that. That was the first like OpenAI big thing, right? AlphaGo,
Yep.
right?
Correct.
I
Correct.
think it was
AlphaGo.
AlphaGo. Then after that, it was the Dota AI.
Hmm.
And then now, obviously, it's ChatGPT.
Correct.
Yeah, so time flies. Even AR technology, right?
Correct.
Augmented reality, like
Correct.
Apple just
Thanks to
announced their
Apple.
headset, right?
Yeah.
It
Yes.
blows up again, and I still
Yep.
remember my first like computer science side project was an AR project.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
okay.
an AR project.
Okay.
Yeah, I had like a QR code. You point your QR code there, and suddenly like some characters show up with some textbook stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so like wow, like, time flies,
Time
honestly.
flies.
And that was 8 years ago.
Mm.
So wow, maybe now like with ChatGPT, I can't imagine what's it's gonna be like for
Mm.
next 8 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think things will definitely move much faster already. I think with ChatGPT and how impressive it is as a tool, things will just continue to go even faster. And then yeah, I think thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing your experiences and what you're currently doing. And then I think to add on to that, right, I'd like to also understand what kind of projects are you currently building? Like maybe are you doing anything besides your work stuff? Are you also building any side projects at this moment?
Good. Yeah, I think like the most recent kind of like side projects I've been working, it's mostly just hackathons,
Mm.
to be frank. But it's kind of like a different way of like hacking, I guess. Because nowadays, like I have a younger brother, so
Right.
he's currently studying computer science in Sunway University. And I'm joining hackathons because of him. Because I always told him, it's like, yeah, I want to retire from hackathons. My body cannot take it anymore. But I could not retire because like whenever he was like, oh, I want to join hackathons. Do you want to join with me? I'm like, oh, okay, lah, let's go. Uh, I don't know. I personally enjoy teaching a lot.
Mm, right, right.
So so yeah, if I have can just like teach a bunch of like uni kids live in a hackathon context, I do enjoy it. Even the last two weekend ones, I often give them lectures. It's like,
Mm.
hey, do not code like this. Hey, when you think about a problem, you should think it like way. Hey, when you pitch, you should do this kind of techniques. Hey, if you do slides, you should do. I enjoy it. I enjoy it personally. But other than that, yeah, I mean, just work is work. There's a lot of exciting stuff in work, but I can't really say now.
Yep, yep,
But maybe when it launch, they'll be pretty exciting to share.
yep.
But yeah, other than that, it's just, life, one day at a time, trying to like, juggle everything everywhere at once. Yeah, I guess that's it lah. Yeah.
Any regrets like go transitioning into a software engineer? Like any regrets or
No regrets
no looking
whatsoever,
back
to be
ah?
perfect. No regrets whatsoever. I think
Okay,
like
okay.
looking back, that's actually a very good decision. And to be perfectly frank with you, software engineering has always been kind of like the goal
Right.
ever since I graduated from uni.
Yep.
It's just that like in the context of like where I used to work, which is Bank Negara, software engineering is not something that they do.
Correct.
Understandably, right? Software
Correct.
engineering, central bank doesn't
Yep.
really jive.
Yep.
So fine for the next best thing, which is data. But yeah, I really enjoy my work. I like building stuff. And now like I'm expected to build stuff with respect to scale, and it's a whole other challenge once you talk about scale.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Understand. Okay. Very cool. So basically, you are like a part-time mentor on the side. So to the listeners, if you want to be under his leadership, you can just reach out.
See,
He's
I always joke, right? It's like, yeah, software engineering is the end goal, but like I'm not gonna be coding like this when I'm
yep,
45.
yep,
But I told
yep,
myself
yep.
maybe when I'm 45 years old, I'm just gonna be a lecturer at like some uni. And I can just like lecture students to death afterwards.
That's good. I think it's a pretty noble role as well. I think it's not easy to be a lecturer, but I think if you
Mm,
have, I teach. I think it's a way to go lah. So I look forward to that. I
mm.
think one day maybe my kids will attend yours lecture.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious,
Yeah, yeah,
honestly.
what full circle already.
Full circle, full
Okay,
circle.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think interesting. Then yeah, interesting sharings and everything. I look forward to that. I think
Mhm.
at the same time, yeah, I've also been following your career journey as well. So which I think brings us to the next section of the podcast, right? So I think now the main section is we're the main section. So I think it's also the question that a lot of people are asking. It's also like $1 million question, right? So, but let's just start with your thoughts on what are your thoughts on AI and the recent developments we have seen, because I think all of this happened so quickly in the last few months. I think ChatGPT basically like exploded lah. So like everyone's using it and everything. So yeah, Nasran, what are your thoughts on the current field, like the current tech field? Like what are your thoughts? Yeah.
In my honest opinion,
Yep.
it's getting a little bit scary. I'll be very
Yep.
honest with you.
Yep. I don't
Because
deny that.
because okay, honestly, like the OpenAI unveiled ChatGPT sometime in November,
Mm.
right? And it's been 8 months since then.
Mm.
But we saw like when it came out, it was like GPT-3. Like it
Yeah,
was
really like that.
powered by GPT-3.
Yeah.
Then we get like 3.5, and then now
Yes.
we have 4
Oh,
in
yeah.
the span of 8 months, and that's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And like the scale of the model is just crazy. It was like
Yeah.
few thousands more bigger, and frankly speaking, is a little bit scary at a
Mm.
macro level. But it also comes with like positive stuff. Like right
Mm.
now, like we see things like copywriting or like
Mm.
essay editing
Mm.
suddenly just get their market share absolutely decimated
Mm-hmm.
from OpenAI. In
Mm.
fact, in fact just this morning on YouTube, not YouTube, was it YouTube or Twitter? I can't remember which. I can't remember already. I just watched this morning, but you know, check the study guide company.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
their business is basically wiped out because people have ChatGPT now.
Oh, right. Okay. Wiped out, as
Yeah,
in.
yeah, but yeah, and now they're. I think if I'm not mistaken, they're trying to like explore ChatGPT and like GPT-4 to like
Yep.
get back market share. And it's insane. It's just like 8 months. Like it's not
Mm.
even a year. And yeah, like frankly speaking, that's a bit scary.
Mm.
A bit scary, but yeah, maybe we can see how. I mean, it's scary, but also like very hopeful, I guess,
Mm.
because
Okay.
there's a lot of things that you can do previously you cannot do. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. I think it is scary. I won't deny that. But I think with whatever we have right now, basically anyone can do anything. So in terms
Mm,
of like content creation space, which I can vouch for, I think you can literally, if you don't even have experience, you can write, you can do anything. But
mm,
yeah, maybe the coding part you can chip in later. But yeah,
mm-hmm.
basically I think my
So,
next question is, do you use ChatGPT at work to enhance your workflow, or do you use other tools, or do you not?
mm,
If you don't, why?
mm. Okay, so I mentioned it is scary if you look it from like a macro lens, right?
Okay.
The overall development, the space, it can get a bit scary. But if you
Hmm.
go to the micro lens, it is such a helpful tool.
It is.
I use ChatGPT a lot.
Hmm.
And GitHub has this
Hmm.
product called Copilot.
Copilot, yes.
So I use Copilot a lot, a lot.
Yep.
And recently, like few weeks ago, I got access to a new product from Copilot, which is called Copilot Chat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially ChatGPT embedded into VS Code, which is a code editor. So rather than going to ChatGPT, copy paste my code and come back, I can just like highlight my code and just say chat, and it will actually like return you with ChatGPT, which is frankly speaking is amazing because it feels like I have like an eager pair programmer or intern who's like looking over my back. Like I imagine like it's like my younger brother like at my back asking me say, oh, what does this code do? And it's like, oh, I think you miss a spot and stuff like that. I absolutely loved it. Um and yeah, but it also not really how to say, it's an assistant, it's a
Hmm.
tool at the
Hmm.
end of the day,
Hmm.
which,
Hmm.
spoiler alert, I don't think it will replace me anytime soon,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something that people should capitalize on starting from
Hmm.
now. So
Hmm.
yeah, spoiler alert. For I guess like your subsequent question, yeah.
Yep. Just now you mentioned the chat one. How does that work specifically? Quite curious. Like, what do you mean
Oh,
by
uh, yeah. So it's a product called
okay,
Copilot Chat,
okay,
and it's currently in a wait list. So I finally got
okay,
through my wait list.
okay?
So at ChatGPT, you can paste your code, and you
Yes,
have a conversation, and
yes,
it develops, right?
yes.
But the thing here is that it doesn't have the context of your code base.
Okay,
Copilot Chat
okay.
has the context of your code base.
Oh
So you
no.
don't, yeah.
Okay.
So which is insane because and it's deeply integrated. So rather than I have to highlight, copy paste, go to ChatGPT, paste,
Hmm.
and then they'll be like, oh, I don't understand. Then you have to
Hmm.
copy another piece of code and paste. Now
Hmm.
you just copy a piece of code, paste, and it's just you literally have a right click Copilot Chat, and it will just what do you want
And
from this? Yeah.
they will get the context without you giving the context.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, because they guide the context based on what I
oh right,
highlighted,
right, right.
but they
This,
also know what else happens in my
oh
code base,
man.
and
Okay.
and it's crazy because I try this thing where I integrate it with my unit testing. So
Okay.
for listeners, unit testing is where you have a piece of code to automatically test a small portion of
Yep.
your application, right?
Yep.
So
Correct.
sometimes I write unit tests and then there's an error,
Correct.
and I can actually just right click the error, and they will have a button say fix with Copilot. I can just click it, and
Oh
it will
man.
generate me stuff. And if it's not right, I just say, hey, I don't think this is right. Ta, 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 ta. And it give me feedback, and continuously iterate. And then
And
after that, again, this is not the craziest part here is that you don't even need to copy paste. You can just put where you want it and just say insert at cursor, and just whoop, you don't even need to control C, control V anymore. It's a crazy
oh
tool.
man.
Yeah, it's a crazy tool. I've been using it a lot. Particularly as that use case, you want a second pair of eye to
Yep.
check your work, but
Yep. Correct.
ultimately it's your work.
Correct.
So this is kind of the principle I stand in this.
Wow. And the code are all usable, like it all, or you still need to tweak a
Needs
bit.
work. Needs work. Needs
Needs
work.
work.
Obviously,
Okay.
I think especially if you're at least what I'm working on is something that's very highly specialized.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So um it needs a bit of work to adhere to your own
Mm.
organization's coding
Correct, correct.
style and stuff
Yep.
like that. But that's fine. Like I say, ultimately, it's a tool for you to check your work. So check your
Correct,
work as in hey, is my logic right? Am I
correct,
missing something?
correct, correct,
Um, but in terms of style, it's you have to still tweak the style a
correct,
bit. And
correct.
sometimes you also have to check whatever they are trying to suggest to you. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah,
Okay, okay. Oh,
how I use it.
very interesting. I will also check it out myself just to see how cool it is. So I
Yeah.
think which my follow-up question would then be, okay, then do you think all of these AI tools can displace your job as a software engineer in
Mm.
the near future? Like pure near future could be by end of this year, by next year, that sort of thing, or next few
Yeah.
years? Yeah. What do you think are the prospects? Yeah.
I would say near future, let's take a 5 year horizon, right?
Mm, mm.
Yeah. And the economist in me is want to say it depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh I see a software in terms of software engineering, right? There's a lot of different tasks or job scope that you have to do as a software engineer,
Okay.
right?
Okay, makes
And I
sense.
feel in your job scope, if you think of yourself as a code monkey,
Mm,
I get a task, I generate code.
mm.
Those kind of job scopes are definitely going to be replaced by AI in the
Okay.
next 5 years.
Okay.
So if you just think yourself as a code monkey, just you have a PM or someone just
Mm,
or be a business analyst giving you very detailed requirements and
mm.
you expected to generate code out of that,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you are at
Mm,
risk.
mm-hmm.
But if you go a bit higher on the value chain, where someone who's okay, I have to design a system based on vague requirements, which is most of the system in this world has vague requirement and edge cases that you wouldn't even know. These are at risk of like how to say, not being replaced per se, but the expectation on you is higher. Because you don't need to do like the lower value chain things.
That's okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Correct.
But the people at top now, okay, if I am an employer, I expect you to be more productive.
Correct.
Yeah. Which inadvertently means, as again, the economist in me is coming out, inadvertently means it might lower, how many jobs are open for this.
Okay, yep.
It was
Because
still your job, but now like they expect more out of per person.
yep.
And then if you go even higher, like an architect, a software architect, like a system architect, these kind of jobs may not, it will be enhanced, but be very difficult for AI to kind of like replace 100%, at least in my point of view. Because you're talking about a lot of business context, a lot of this, a lot of that.
Correct.
Everything is very niche.
Correct.
Very niche. And like per companies, every company has its own like thing that they have
Correct.
to do or consider. And AI is very good in generalization or like
Correct.
general trends and whatnot.
Correct.
But the absolute niche is something that they couldn't do out of the box. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of like how I see it in terms of like AI replacing software engineers and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think what I'm getting is, would you say execution work, repetitive work can mostly be done by AI tools, but in order for you to keep your job, you need to start to develop some business acumen, problem solving, strategic thinking, that sort of thing, because they could, the employees, in employers' point of view, they have no reason to have so many headcounts anymore, because all of the execution work can already be done by AI. Then you probably need that one manager, who knows, like one manager to still connect the C-suite, but one only maybe, because the execution work can probably be cut down. Like probably like initially there are like a few, like 3 to 4 developers, then they can probably cut it down to 1 or 2, something like that.
Yeah, something like that, to be honest. But another way to kind of think of it is like, yes, maybe AI can write code, but who's going to maintain the code when it inevitably breaks or something like that? So there are still like certain software engineers' job scope, like debugging, fixing fires that I don't think an AI would know what to do.
Correct. Okay, makes sense.
So
okay.
So debugging will be way more important than just like blindly writing code. No, so it forces software engineers to think more. See, I like the distinction between a developer or a programmer and a software engineer, because a developer means you can just like develop, like be a code monkey. But software engineers, just because the word engineer is there, there's a lot of like more design thinking and consideration you have to think of. Think of it like a difference between like your day-to-day plumber, I can just come fix your pipes and I'm done, right? And that's fine. But there's also like people who have to design like pipelines for the entire town, entire city, and stuff like that. So I feel like the latter portion, I'm referring to like software engineering portion that does that, is something that AI would not replace, but AI would enhance it to the point that jobs might be decreased. Yeah.
Yep. I think you put it together pretty well. I think makes a lot of sense. Basically, I think upskill yourself in terms of thinking more and be a strategic thinker instead of just executing, and try to remove yourself from doing execution work all the time and be more proactive in solving problems and then stuff. Yeah. So I think now my next question to you is, okay, since you mentioned, okay, it won't totally replace a software engineer, but it will enhance your workflow. But you also did mention that, okay, it will displace certain roles, right? So once those roles are displaced, what kind of new roles do you foresee in the near future? Like new
Mm,
roles. I think once you displace
yeah,
like current roles, new roles will appear. So yeah, what do you think?
that's an amazing question. Um, Inevitably there will be new roles.
Yeah.
Um, Prompt engineering is
Yeah.
something that's very hype, you know.
Yeah.
I would say, oh, prompt engineers. So in prompt engineers, you have like two camps, right? One is like, oh my God, there's like new job thing coming up. And
Correct.
another camp is like, wow, sounds like a bunch of load of bull, right? What is prompt engineering? Um, I'm I'm in the camp of like it's gonna happen. Prompt
Mm.
engineering is gonna be a thing. But
Okay.
maybe they don't call it prompt engineering.
Yep.
I feel like it's gonna translate into more like a job description or job requirement rather than an actual
Ah.
job.
Okay. Okay.
So no one's gonna say professional PowerPointer or professional slide maker, right?
Okay.
But inside job scope, it will be people who say, yes, you have to make really good slides. And I think that would be where it's gonna be like for prompt engineering. So for example, right,
Mm.
let's say you are a copywriter,
Mm.
right? I feel copywriter who uses ChatGPT or some AI to improve their work, not 100% replace, to improve their work, and a copywriter that doesn't will be different, will be treated different.
Yep.
Yeah. And not stop the copywriter. Maybe I will go like even more to say like 3D artists, right? They have to do a lot of like repeated work to generate what they
Correct.
do.
Correct.
And even so I read on Twitter like Into the Spider-Verse, right? No, yeah, Across the Spider-Verse, the new Spider-Verse movie.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually use some AI tools to fill
Oh.
in like some of the blanks frame by frame, and that
Oh.
made them to work faster.
Mm.
So 3D artists that uses these kind of AI tools and the one who doesn't will be also treated differently. So I wouldn't say like it will create totally new jobs like a prompt engineer,
Mm-hmm.
but all the other jobs now would have different kind of like specialization or
Mm.
split.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I guess that's what I think based on like
Mm.
my observation. Um, for those who say prompt engineering is sort of bull, I used to think like that until I tried to make an AI do what I want, and I realized there's a lot of like thinking you have to do it from there, you know. So I grew an appreciation of like people who can engineer prompts really, really well.
Yep.
It's gonna be like SEOs all over again.
Yep.
It's gonna be like a SEO all over again because you don't know what goes inside. You just randomly put your input and miraculously hope for a good output.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
so
Mm.
it's gonna be the same, I guess.
Okay, so what I got is it might not necessarily be a role on its own, but it will start to you should start to see it in as part of job descriptions. So like which is why I think goes back to your point on this is why you need to start embracing the tools. Like don't not use it. I think embrace it.
Correct.
It will definitely enhance your workflow a lot better. But at the same time, with that caveat, I think it also means your employers or whoever will expect more from you already.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. But in terms of tech, I guess like now you might see like things like LLM developers or
Mm,
like NLP
mm,
analysts and stuff
mm,
like that. I think those will come out inevitably. But I don't think the impact will be as big as like existing jobs being more and more differentiated. Yeah.
mm, mm. Okay. I think yeah. Yeah. So from what you have shared, then now comes my next question would be okay. So for people who are going to tech, who just started, or they want to make a transition, is this still a career path that you would
Mhm.
recommend? And is it still practical for people to learn how to code, or do they no longer need to learn? Or yeah, what do
Mhm.
you think?
See, that's actually really funny because like over the past weekend, I mentioned earlier, I was in a hackathon with
Mm,
other Samway uni kids, right?
mm,
And I think like we had a discussion about this. It's like, oh my God, can this AI like replace my job? Is it even worth to go to
yeah,
like learn all of these things, right?
yeah.
Um, I would still say that yeah, it is worth going into this because
Mm-hmm.
think about this. Someone needs to code the AI itself. AI
Yep.
can code, yes, but someone has
Yep.
to code. Someone have to like code the AI itself as one.
Yep.
Someone has to code the tools that utilize AI as
Yep.
two, and someone has to like maintain all of these like different things.
Yep.
So, like for example, Google Docs. Google Docs, we have some maybe some portion powered by AI, and some portion that is not powered by AI.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for all this like not powered by AI, someone still has to do the work,
Correct. Correct.
right? So yeah, like I still think like it is a career path that is
Mm-hmm.
still viable.
Mm-hmm.
You won't see like software engineering die. You won't see programmer die.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
doomsayer kind of like mindset. It'll
Mm-hmm.
still be there.
Mm-hmm.
But the things I have to realize is that now it's a different playing field. The
Mm-hmm.
the bar for menial work, it's basically like non-existent anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
have to kind of like be more human to compete against the sea of AI that's gonna take your slice of the pie. So yeah, I would say like yeah, it's still viable, but now competition gets stiffer. Uh,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay, I'm interested in the part where you said be more human. So can you elaborate that? Like, what is it, the soft skill side or like business acumen side? Like, yeah, what do you mean by that?
Actually, both you
Mm.
put it that you put it perfectly. Like software side, business human, AI still couldn't. We still are not in the era of like
Mm.
AGI, right?
Mm.
Artificial general intelligence yet, right?
Mm.
So they're still very specific to one task.
Mm.
But we all know life is very vague, very vague, very gray. There's a
Mhm.
lot of like things can be
Mhm.
misinterpreted and whatnot. So being good in these sort of things is the differentiator. Yeah, you
Mm.
cannot just do nothing but code now. I think those days might be over. You still need to be, work in a team,
Yeah.
know how to talk,
Yeah.
familiar with the business context you are dealing with.
Yeah.
Yes, you can ask ChatGPT. It's like, oh yeah, I'm in a fintech company. Solve me this problem, and ChatGPT can give you those solutions. But it takes another order of thinking to know, like, hey, is the solution works in my in my exact particular situation, dealing with this set of people in this set of like time.
Mm.
Yeah. So those are things that an AI may not be able to answer you. They might hallucinate for you, but they might not answer for you. So yeah.
Yeah, I think adding to that, I think AI can definitely do the execution work really well, but they can't create businesses, they can't make decisions for you yet. They can't
Mm,
make decisions for you. They can't like sort of uh yeah, I think more the human aspect stuff.
mm,
I think because whenever I think for humans in general, whenever you have too much of something, now in this context is you have too much of tech, then naturally the human side would be more and more
yeah.
important. So
Yeah.
like things I've mentioned just now, business acumen and stuff. And I think I also want to add another point to whatever to what you have said,
Mm,
right? I think what's even more important, right, moving forward, because I feel a lot of us would have access to information already, and the fact that we
mm,
can do anything right now,
mm,
so everyone has the same level of access to information and all these tools because we all have internet and stuff. So like you said, competition very stiff. So what do I think that moving forward, I think for every professional they need to leverage on their own, as in create a personal branding. It might sound very cringe, but I really think this is the way to go to stand out, because
yeah.
like if you don't shout out about yourself and there's so many of you, like for example HR executive lah, for example, there's so many, so how do you stand
Mm,
out? So I think this is where having an online presence is really really important right now, because I think even for talent, I mean recruiters, right, they would the first thing they do is look at your social media. So the
mm.
way to stand out is to have some form of thought leadership and opinion, which all goes back to building your own personal brand. And do you agree that even for a tech professional, a person, you can't neglect your personal brand, like even for
Oh yeah, no, no, no,
development?
no.
Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Personal branding is definitely very important.
Mm.
And this is to any skill or
Mm.
profession, to be
Mm.
honest. But I want to add, like at least
Mm.
for non-tech professions, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is even more important
Correct.
to not for personal branding, but it's even more important to know the AI tools that you're using
Correct.
because just the fact that you know ChatGPT
Mm.
makes you like already different from
Mm.
people who
Correct.
do not know,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
There are still like older
Correct.
generations who do not know all of this.
Correct. Correct.
And put it simply in this way, lah, like let's say you're creating a business, right?
Alright.
In something that's boring.
Mm.
A boring business? Okay, like inheritance, for example.
Okay. Okay.
Inheritance management, very boring
Okay.
business, right?
Okay.
So you're competing against a dozens of inheritance management company who doesn't use opening, like ChatGPT,
Mm.
and you are the only inheritance thing that uses ChatGPT for this,
Mm. Mm.
and you see that your emails turn around are faster than your competitors. You're creating like all of this marketing material faster than your competitors, and people are just like, oh my god, like how many people do they have there? They must have like 100 people, and then it's just like you and like 500 people in the room running this solo operations.
Mm.
So
Makes
it's
sense.
more important for the non-taxpayer because taxpayer, everyone's like, oh my god, AI, robots, and everyone just jump into it. But not that's you might feel like, oh my god, my job is gonna get removed and stuff like that. And like, but if you go out of the tech bubble, a lot of people are still not using this.
Correct. Mm.
Yeah, and I think that is an opportunity to just use AI tools and just be ahead from the competitor, be
Correct.
leaner, be something. Yeah. Which is why, and I guess an advice for skills that you should actively pick, especially on non-tech. Yeah.
Yeah, I think using it, I do think that there are a lot that are still in denial, like they refuse to use it because for I think like they would feel like yeah, like I already learned, so as in I'm still the best at this. I don't
Yeah.
think an AI tool can take over my job, but I think for this part, I wouldn't say it's gonna take over, but it will enhance your workflow a lot. So
Mm,
I can definitely
mm,
vouch for this. So yeah, I think now my next question would be okay. This is more for yourself. So how do
yeah.
you see your role evolve? Like since you've been in tech for about 6 years now, I think
Mm-hmm.
you've also tried a few things. Being in a startup, I think in a startup you do many things, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
how do you see your current role evolve? And for that evolution, what are the skills are you like actively picking up to match that? Yeah.
Mm. All right, that's really good. Uh, how I see my role evolve. I think like I mentioned a few minutes ago,
Mm.
um, higher order work or higher value work
Mm-hmm.
is gonna get rewarded even more.
Mm.
Yeah. So think of it as like uh now you have interns, free interns, AI interns, that is working for you.
Correct.
So how do you delegate and capitalize on these interns to achieve your goals?
Mm.
So that would be a very important skill.
Mm-hmm.
And specific to software engineering, like I mentioned, architecting solutions, making sure it fits the business context, the tech constraint is very, very important. Because in the AI world, like they might not think that it's a constraint.
Mm.
And even if you give, they will hallucinate the constraint away, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you to like say, okay, this is what I want, this is what I need, and then I just like mobilize my teams and my AI interns to do the work for me. I think those are important. And
Mm.
in terms of like that, what I'm trying to learn, specifically personally in my career, I think I need to learn more about being that point person effectively.
Mm.
Yeah. I think previously in the past when I had my own startup, I was the point person.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the efficiency and effectiveness of that bar is higher and higher now.
Mm. Mm.
So I'm trying to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess technical stuff now I'm learning like how LLM works,
Mm.
just trying to like understand who I'm dealing with, understanding my AI partner better.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay.
So yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay. I think yeah. Lots of I think Nasran has dropped a lot of very very useful insights and all insights that I'm also very aligned with. I think the higher order of work, and then do more value adding stuff, focus less on execution, leverage on all these AI tools. They're like really your free interns. But by the way, do you subscribe to the plus version or the pro version or
Oh no, I didn't subscribe
yeah?
to the provision, but my company does sponsor our co-pilots. So
Okay,
it's pretty
that's
nice. It's pretty
yep,
nice.
bonus,
Yeah.
yep.
Honestly, like even before the company sponsor, I've been paying for co-pilot. Like, because
Oh,
honestly, it's like 10 US dollar, was it?
oh
5 or
yeah,
10
very
US
cheap.
dollar a month.
Yep, yep.
And like I get so much more effective. I don't need to copy paste code as much.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So yeah, sign me up. It's worth lah, honestly. I
mm-hmm,
would pay. I'm the kind of person that I would pay to get my problem solved for me.
mm,
If I have the money and it's reasonable. So it's like, yeah, it's like, $10 a month. I'm not a cheapskate. It solved my problem. So why
mm-hmm.
not?
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Good that you do that. So leverage on that. So yeah, I think yeah, you have dropped a sorry. Oh,
No,
okay.
no, nothing.
I
No.
mean, I think you have dropped a lot of very useful insights for, I mean, for those who are listening to this, right? So I think, yeah, appreciate all the insights, and then I think our listeners here will definitely be able to learn a lot from your sharings. So I think to sort of wrap up, I have two more questions for you.
All right,
So
go ahead.
in the introduction, you did, I mean, in the earlier questions, you did say, okay, all of this is a bit scary, right? So are you still hopeful for the future of tech still, or yeah, or do you feel the
Mm,
other way around?
very, very good question. Hopeful, yes, but we shouldn't be blindly optimistic. I think that's my thing, I guess.
Okay,
Uh, because like kind of like if we go beyond the tech bubble, the world is pretty crazy, right?
it is.
Um, there is a war happening, and then there's
Yeah.
like this economic thing that we're also dealing with, recession,
Mhm.
um, climate change is also happening. So it's yes, it's good to be hopeful for the tech, but we also need to also be wary and cautious because we live in very interesting times.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting times. So let's not be too deep into the tech bubble. Yeah, for example, like the whole metaverse thing, I think that was a bit too much. I think
Yep, yep,
we have to really rethink where our priorities land.
yep,
So I hope with the progress of tech, we
yep.
at least solve actual real problems that comes with the world that we live in. Yeah. Oh, that
Okay.
sounds grimmer than I expected.
No, I think
Yeah.
it's always right to be realistic as well, and also sort of be yeah worry about the situation, the kind of world we're living in, and don't be so blinded into the hype and everything. So I think makes total sense. So yeah, I think my last question is what can we expect from you in the next few months? And yeah, how can our viewers, our listeners reach out to you?
Mm. Wow, what to expect from me in the next few months, huh?
Okay, no pressure. I mean, just like whatever you can think
uh,
of. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. To be frank, if you're in Malaysia, you might see me in hackathons,
Mm.
honestly.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of hackathons that I will join,
Mm-hmm.
again with my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see me there, you can say hi. It's very easy to see me because I'm kind of loud. Uh, because okay, to be frank, in hackathons, right? There's not many extroverts in hackathons in
Okay.
settings. So I'm like the handful of extroverts in the event. So it's kind of like hard to like not notice me if you see me in a hackathon setting. So that's one. And yeah, I'm pretty trying to be pretty chill, I guess. You can follow me on Twitter. I tweet about sometimes tech, sometimes like other things like getting Coldplay tickets and Taylor Swift tickets, and some random musings here and there. So you can reach me on Twitter. I used to be more active on LinkedIn, not anymore. So reach me on Twitter. Yeah,
Yep.
my handle is Khairul Nazran. My name. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think those are all the questions I have for today. I think a really insightful session. I think I myself learned a lot and sort of reaffirmed some of my thinking as well on need to leverage more on the tools
I don't
and
know, so
do
I hope
more.
I hope I don't make you too grieve lah with the
No
last
lah,
opening
no,
bit.
no, no. I think no, no, no. I think I don't know what will
Yeah.
happen, but I'm just more focused on the short term for now. But I think in the
Mm.
short term, I think continue to leverage on the tools and then make it enhance your workflow with it. But at the same time, sort of shift yourself from being an executor to more of a thinker and a strategic person. So I think this is my takeaway from your sharing. So appreciate it, Nasran. I think thanks a lot for your sharing. I think
Oh, thank you for inviting.
no, I think
It's an honor.
it's my pleasure. So I think that's for all. That's for what we have for this episode. So who knows? I think maybe you can if you are still into it, we can even do this again. So thank
Mm.
you so much, Nasran. And then to whoever is listening, I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much. Goodbye.